Merci, Madame la Présidente.
Thank you, Madam President, Minister. So here we are in the chamber, and yet if Zelensky hadn't been so courageous, the front line would have been much closer to France than it is at the moment. We shouldn't flinch in adopting sanctions against the Putin regime. We need to expect of Europe and its leaders that they apply themselves diplomatically and appropriately. I don't think I can make it clearer than that. We cannot have peace in Ukraine without Ukrainians and without Europeans around that table for negotiating. Now, for several days, people have been talking about a peace plan, a pseudo-peace plan. To be frank, we can ask what the real intentions are behind the Americans' moves, because there's a whole raft of concessions from Ukraine. But what are we asking of Russia? What is the Trump administration asking of Putin's Russia? Ladies and gentlemen, this plan is betrayal. We need to understand we shouldn't fall into this game. And it's good that we've realised that, but we need to be much firmer, much more united in our demands. Success in negotiations will depend on demanding the right things to achieve a just and lasting peace, robust security guarantees, not restricting Ukrainian army, having coalition of the willing helping out in guaranteeing that peace, and using frozen assets to fund this. So, Madam President, Minister, when are you going to make sure that this is deblocked in Council? We've got a solution on the table. There is an imperative to provide the necessary guarantees to get rid of the blocks in Council. That's what's at stake at the coming summit, and it's extremely important. This peace, ladies and gentlemen, this peace has to guarantee the freedom of Ukraine and the freedom of the allies it chooses. It shouldn't undermine its possible futures in Europe or NATO. And for this peace to be just and lasting, we refuse the admonishment of those who are war criminals. And we can't allow this to go through the United Nations and just left to one side. The Bucha genocide, the attacks, and the support from some people here in this chamber as well to maintain that Ukraine was the aggressor. Ladies and gentlemen, this war in Ukraine is the moment of truth for Europe. We are alone in facing our fate, and it's imperative that we make progress on Europe's defence. That's a sine qua non for our independence, but we have to understand who we are, we, the European Union, because we're more than just a market, more than just 450 million consumers. We are a political power. We are a power underpinned by democratic principles that many places in the world are fighting for. And we need to set out our ambitions so that we can defend our principles and our values. Thank you.
Now the co-president of the Greens Group, Terry Reintke.